So tell me, what do you think is worse? A movie adaptation of a fanfic of Twilight, or a parody of a movie that's already self-aware enough to possibly be a parody and a bit of a comedy? Which one's more useless? For me, I feel it's 50 Shades of Black. Shades of Black is the new Marlon Wayans film, and this time it's a parody or a spoof or whatever you want to call it of 50 Shades of Grey. You know what? That's pretty much what it is. It's 50 Shades of Grey except the two main characters are black. That's pretty much it. Except for it's a parody of itself and over-exaggerated, and of course it's Marlon Wayans style of comedy, so if you know haunted house movie and scary movies, it's kind of that comedy. I think that's the best way to describe 50 Shades of Black. Now, a lot of people feel that 50 Shades of Grey is one of the worst films ever made, the worst film out there, the worst film of last year. Maybe it was different seeing it in a movie theater experience, but when I saw it in the comfort of my own home, because my aunt happened to have the DVD, so I borrowed it from her so I could review the film, I didn't find it all that bad. Yes, it's still not a good film, but that felt like there were so many moments within 50 Shades of Grey that was poking fun of itself, felt like it was self-aware, and actually kind of funny. I ended up giving 50 Shades of Grey 2.5 stars. I think some people were just blinded by the fact that it's a fan fiction of Twilight, and that's all they cared about, and automatically it was an abomination. But ultimately, like I said, I felt like it was self-aware enough. It had moments where it was poking fun of itself, poking fun of the dialogue, actors were having fun. It actually was filmed nicely with good set design. And so when there's a movie that's already kind of making fun of itself, and now there's a parody of said movie, then it feels like that parody is ultimately meaningless. And I just knew I was not gonna like it. Sure enough, didn't like it. Didn't laugh a single moment through 50 Shades of Black. Now listen, I know comedy is very subjective. There's certain comedies that work for me, certain ones that just don't hit the mark at all. And I do remember liking some of Marlon Wayans' stuff. I remember liking the first couple of scary movies. It was around 4 that I started hating them, and I can't remember if Marlon Wayans actually did number 3 or was responsible. I know he was responsible for the creation of the first 2. But I never liked the 2 haunted house movies, and so 50 Shades of Black just doesn't cater to my comic taste. Maybe the only reason I liked the first couple scary movies is because I was younger, and it felt funnier to me because I was younger. Maybe these films are for 13-year-olds or teenagers, rather than actual adults. Despite these movies being rated R. Now, I've seen a lot of reviews that are saying that it's a complete remake of 50 Shades of Grey, and there's only about 30% or so of actual comedy, just enough to make it sound like a parody. But here's the thing. Now, I will admit that there are many set designs, a lot of shots and angles that are completely the same as 50 Shades of Grey, as well as costumes.
It's for the paper. To what do you owe your success?
I have a natural instinct for what makes a person tick. Hannah?
And of course it does have all the same plot points as 50 Shades of Grey because it's a parody of 50 Shades of Grey. But to be honest, I feel that every scene had about 10 to 12 jokes almost. Like, it didn't feel like it was a movie that was actually being serious and being a remake of 50 Shades of Grey. I just feel that the people that thought there was only a few jokes in the movie is because the jokes are so bad in this movie that you can't even tell they're jokes. Like, you have to look at them and think of them as a joke in order to understand that they're a joke, but they're still not funny. And for the acting, a lot of it was just terrible, just over-the-top, stereotypical things that you expect in these spoof movies that Marlon Wayans and like all the other people that are responsible for epic movie and scary movie and all that kind of stuff. It's everything you would expect from those kind of films. So if those kind of films you like, then you might like 50 Shades of Black. And I know Marlon Wayans can act. I've seen Requiem of a Dream. And as far as people are saying that he's a perfect Christian Grey and he's actually playing him seriously and to the T, there are only brief little moments where that's true. What happens is he'll start off a scene feeling like he's pretending to be Christian Grey, and then about not even a minute later into the scene, he goes normal Marlon Wayans in all of his other movies. Like, seriously, it's the same stuff that you'd expect from Marlon Wayans in his comedies. You know what Marlon Wayans is like? He's like Adam Sandler. He does the same exact stuff, and there's like nothing different about him. I tried to have an open mind. I tried to watch this film, but it bored me. I didn't laugh at all. It feels like it takes all the points from 50 Shades of Grey and just tries to put them to the extreme in order to parody them, but it gets so ridiculous that it's just not really funny. Now, I will admit there are some moments where 50 Shades of Black actually points out things that 50 Shades of Grey didn't seem to be self-aware of. Like the time that they have sex for the first time. I know a coworker of mine that saw 50 Shades of Grey and started laughing her ass off the first time she saw it because the main girl had hairy legs. Or at least it was more noticeable in 50 Shades of Grey because of the lighting and the angle. And so in 50 Shades of Black, of course, she has even hairier legs, and they mention that she's Sasquatch-like. Just to show you how ridiculously dumb this movie can go over the top and exaggerate its points. Yeah, in 50 Shades of Black, not only is she a virgin, but she still has her umbilical cord. Then, of course, there's the pin scene where, yeah, she's sort of like chewing on her pin in 50 Shades of Grey when she's at the store. Well, she goes to a more extreme in 50 Shades of Black. Know what's the sad thing? The only joke that could have been funny to me, but wasn't because so much in the movie was just so bad that I was in such a horrible, awful mood, just like Hot Pursuit. This scene.
Alright, give me a smile. Alright, don't ever fucking smile again, okay?
To be honest, I think that's the only time it actually has a joke that's kind of funny. Everything else is just complete trash. Oh, and there's these two annoying characters that get too much screen time for this movie. The roommate and best friend of our main girl, who is white and pretends to be black. And it's not annoying because of that, but she's just frickin' annoying, period. And Christian Black's brother that happens to end up dating the roommates, and we have more scenes with them, and just no. Actually, the brother wasn't that bad. It's just mainly the girl that I just couldn't stand. And he just happened to be the aftermath because she was getting together with him, and that meant more screen time for the girl. I will say this, at least the movie has a decency to not leave it hanging for a sequel. Yeah, the movie actually wraps up in this film, so there's not going to be a parody of the other two 50 Shades of whatever movies. So that might be a plus, but the forced heartfelt moment it tries to have and the forced romance it tries to have at the very end of the film just really felt terrible because it just didn't build up to it in a good way that makes it not believable, but I mean that makes it worth the while. Like the movie just doesn't earn the relationship at the very end of the film. You want to know how much this movie relies on 50 Shades of Grey? There's this one scene, just like in 50 Shades of Grey, where our main girl is drunk, she's at a club, and she calls Christian in a drunken fit. Well, not a fit, but she's drunk. And she has a fairly similar dialogue where she repeats something that Christian Grey had said to her about staying away from him.
Tell me what to do. Mr. Oh, let's go for coffee. No, stay away from me.
Like she uses the same thing that Christian Grey had said to her in 50 Shades of Grey, but the thing is, in 50 Shades of Black, he doesn't say that thing.
I guess. I mean, I like long walks on the beach. I like baby talk. I like to cuddle. Ooh, and I love Nicholas Sparks movies.
Even the one with Miley Cyrus?
That's my favorite one.
Bitch, I'm out.
Like she's quoting Christian Grey.
I'm not the man for you. You should steer clear of me.
When it's Christian Black and he didn't say that. The only people I can recommend this film to are the people that didn't find 50 Shades of Grey funny and the people that want to see a bad parody of it, as well as the people that like Marlon Wayans, like all of his other movies and his comedies, and doesn't mind the kind of humor that those movies bring. If you're a fan of all those things, then you might like 50 Shades of Black. If you're not a fan of any of those things, then you're probably going to absolutely hate this film. And for me, 50 Shades of Black, I gotta say, 0 stars, absolute 0. There was nothing I liked about the film. There was a plus side to it, about how there's not going to be a sequel, but that's not that big of a plus. I still had to sit through this movie. So did you even bother with 50 Shades of Black? What did you think about it? Go ahead and comment. And if you like this video, please subscribe and check out my other movie reviews. I've got 2015 and 2016 movie reviews. They're both on playlists in my channel. As always, this is Bruce Gifford, and this was just my opinion.